Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the Committee on Appointments. I'll start by thanking God for this opportunity to sit in front of the esteemed members, and also the President for giving me an opportunity on this nomination. My name is Erick Mugaa, 32 years of age, born in a village called Adhi, which is in Egembe South constituency, Meru County. I went to Adhi Primary School, which is a walking distance from my birthplace, and did my KCPE in 2005. I performed well and enrolled in Lenana School, where I sat my KCSE in the year 2009. After that, I performed well. I progressed to the University of Nairobi, Faculty of Architecture and Engineering, where I did a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and civil and construction engineering. I performed really well. I got a first class amongst my colleagues, and upon graduation, I got a job that relates to this docket of sanitation and irrigation in a company called Mangat IB Patel Consulting Engineers. This is one of the leading consulting firms in this country. While working, I was very interested in water, so I enrolled back in the year 2017 for a master's degree in the University of Nairobi and specialized on water resources engineering, where I graduated in the year 2022. I'm born in a family with 6 siblings. I'm the third born. I am married, and I've worked for 8 to 9 years, Honorable Speaker, on water and sanitation. In the process of carrying out my daily activities, I have worked at all levels, mostly in the private sector. I've worked at all levels. I've worked and engaged with stakeholders from the ministry, mostly water development works as consultant. I have progressed in my career growth from an intern to a design engineer, and now to assistant resident engineer and also in some projects, an assistant project engineer. I am duly registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya as a professional engineer, and duly registered with the Institution of Engineers of Kenya as a corporate member. During my work activities, I have developed a passion to ensure that every Kenya, in my little scope that I've served so far, has access to water, which is a human right, and also a constitutional right. Service to my fellow countrymen is a service to God, and given the opportunity, if this House approves my nomination, I will do all I can to ensure that Kenyans have access to an economic and basic right and serve with honor and dignity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erick. I'll now invite members to ask you some questions, and I expect you to answer the questions clearly, precisely, and concisely. Hakuna stories. You just answer the questions as they are asked. I'll invite the Deputy Speaker to be the first to ask you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Mugaa, you most likely were following the proceedings in Parliament and the country, and you know that the Finance Bill 2024 was withdrawn, which therefore means that there is a shortage of funding in the ministry to which you seek confirmation. So that I would like to hear your ideas on the alternatives. For example, since the majority of farmers are small-scale holders, leveraging on the use of water pans and harvesting during the rainy season for use for the rest of the year. We know that places like Yatta only get 2 days of rain a year, but they have water pans that are producing food the whole year. So we want to see how you can leverage on that. So that the higher percentage of will be water pans as opposed to big dams, which you don't have money for now. And also, how will you leverage on the public-private partnerships to be able to fund the water sector in the light of shortage of funding? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Gladys Boss' question on the rejected finance bill and shortage of funding. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation has 2 state departments, the State Department of Irrigation, State Department of Water and Sanitation. The 2 state departments, the State Department of Irrigation has had a budget cut of almost 1.7 billion. The State Department of Irrigation and Sanitation and Water has had a budget cut of 2.7 billion. That means we can't really develop large-scale dams, as you have correctly stated, and we need to raise funds. Raising funds, as one of the ways you've suggested, as you've mentioned, is the PPPs, public-private partnerships, that we package our projects in such a way that we attract public interest in our projects, but also ensure that the partnerships do not exploit the end user. The end user is the consumer. This, in the ministry, we have WASREB, Water Services Regulatory Board, and this will ensure that consumers who are the final end users of these services that the ministry seeks to offer will be served at the right tariffs. WASREB is responsible for the tariffs. On water pans is not a long-term solution to our water problems, especially in the areas you've mentioned of Yatta, etc. But they are relatively inexpensive compared to dams. To develop large-scale dams, that's where we will need the leverage of PPPs. And in this case, I will work with the Directorate of PPPs and the Exchequer, the National Treasury, to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, Eric has preempted my question because I wanted to ask him about how he can leverage on PPPs, but since you have answered that, I don't know if you were to explore the possibility of using PPPs for the large-scale dams. Do you, in your opinion, think there is also an opportunity to leverage on the development of dams together with using those dams for agriculture and leasing land for large-scale farming, where you can get investors who will want to lease land for large-scale farming and at the same time develop land, develop the dams for use in the irrigation projects, and the same dams can be used to provide water, as you said, to end users at a rate that will not exploit the Kenyan consumers of water. 2, I have seen you have had quite some experience with in the area of sanitation, especially your work with the Nairobi River Sewerage Project. And one of your state departments, if approved, will deal with sanitation matters. How do you intend to deal with the issue of pollution? Working again together with the Ministry of Environment, do you see any opportunities around that space? Thank you, Speaker.
Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In response to the question from Ichung'wah, Honorable Ichung'wah, it is true that to develop large-scale dams, we will need external funding that the government, at the moment, due to austerity measures, cannot sustain. These large-scale dams, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the chairperson or the speaker, are multi-purpose dams. They not only provide water for domestic use, which is basic, they also provide water for irrigation. Irrigation is a key component in sustaining and developing climate resilience amongst arid and semi-arid areas. The concept Honorable Ichung'wah, through the speaker, has raised is viable. That if we develop a dam, a large-scale dam, in an arid and semi-arid area, it is prudent to also have a PPP to lease land for irrigation so that we have value for money for our large investments. It would be utterly wrong, if approved by this House, if I don't explore that option. Water is a human right, and also water is intertwined with food security. So on irrigation, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the speaker, that is correct. That's correct.
Could you tell us, since you've worked in the water